Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care, and we're glad that you are joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. When appreciating things, always appreciate getting updates on what's happening here in the parish. And the guy with his finger on the pulse of all of those things is always Chris Pulaski, Terrebonne Parish Planning and Zoning Director. Chris, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Keith. Always good to be here.
We appreciate it. I know people are probably always asking you every day about how we're doing with housing in our recovery process. I know it's one of those things that you're real passionate about. Gotten a lot of things happening, and we appreciate it. Give us an update, if you don't mind, on where we are.
Sure. So I think everyone's aware by now that the base camps, the temporary base camp shelters have all closed. So now what we're doing is we continue to work with the state on their travel trailer program, although it too is starting to come to a close. They have fewer and fewer trailers to be deployed in Terrebonne, and they've even begun, the state has begun the discussions with FEMA to transition that program over into FEMA for those folks who need that IDA sheltering program for the longer term.
Right.
FEMA right now, they've got probably a little over 800 units occupied in Terrebonne Parish, and they have about another 700 or so remaining. A good portion of those, about 250 to 300 of those units, are slated to go onto private sites, private properties, that kind of thing. And the remainder would be going into either commercial sites like existing mobile home parks,
Right.
or the group sites.
Right.
So most recently, FEMA opened up a group site on off of Bayou Blue Road, off of Gage Court.
Right.
There's about 50 units in that location. They're about to go out or begin construction on another site up in Schriever.
Okay.
Off of Highway 24, across on the Park Avenue side, West Park side, across from St. Bridget Church.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Just north of the Chevron and the resettlement project site.
Mm-hmm.
And FEMA has identified some other sites throughout the parish. Most recently, there was a public comment period that was put out on a proposed site down in Berg. We had a meeting with FEMA yesterday. There was a lot of concern about that site because of the traffic volumes and safety issues that have happened since the Company Canal Bridge closed.
Right.
And that's a DOTD project that's 1 year into it, and they have 2 more years.
2 more years. That's a 1 of a 3-year project.
Right. So that a FEMA group site in that area, I mean, for those folks who've been in that area, you know a lot of that traffic has rerouted itself down Country Drive and crossing the Klondike Bridge. It's a mess.
Yes.
And so if we were to have FEMA group sites, and there were 2 actually that they were considering in Berg, I think the total count that we figured based off of the counts that we use for mobile home parks, it's like a little over 4 trips per day per unit. It was like 650 additional average daily trips going into that area.
Wow.
And that would just make a bad situation worse. Right. I'm not faulting FEMA in any way on that, because that is exactly the type of local knowledge. That's why they involve the parish. That's why they have a public comment period, is to capture that sort of information. But we didn't just meet with FEMA and say, guys, you know, it's a no-go. I mean, obviously, where are those 136, units going to be put? If not there, where? I mean, they're coming.
Yeah, we just got to figure out where we have to put them.
They have to be put somewhere.
Right. Exactly.
That's just the fact. So, you know, we met with FEMA and looked at all of the potential sites that they had identified, and we figured out, okay, well, for those, we asked them to concentrate on some other sites that we felt were better in all the way around, traffic, access to services, and things like that. And I think the delay was about a 15-day overall. Like, if they'd have stayed with the Berg site, 15 days obviously for this person who's in need of that site, 15 days is a long time. But I mean, we're doing the best we can. Right. So that
in the larger scheme of things, 15 days is really not that much,
right?
Considering where we are now.
Right, and we certainly wouldn't want to make that bad situation that we have down there worse with 650 additional trips happening at that
Right,
interchange.
and it's in it's a residential area. It's a residential zone, if you will. And so, it's where the bulk of the people are the people that kind of live there, and they only have so much access.
Yeah,
there.
and even the other sites that are being considered, I mean, some of them are going to be near residential areas. It's just we got to look at the big picture and figure out what's best for all. We're also working now. We're transitioning in our storm recovery into sort of our longer term planning exercises, and I know we're going to get into some of that in the next segment with downtown and stuff. But from a housing standpoint, we're working with our consultants and preparing our applications to the state and the feds for our home reconstruction programs. Whether you're low to moderate income or you're somebody whose home was substantially damaged, and I know a lot of people out in the community have probably received their substantial damage determination letter. That's very important, and all the information is in that letter. But the big message to get out to people is if you're going to be doing any repair work, please get a permit, because there's many reasons for it. And for those people who have been deemed substantially damaged, it's extremely important, because the last thing you want to do is find yourself in a situation where you've gone too far down the road, and FEMA's going to come in and you're going to end up in big trouble. In
a worse situation.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time talking about what's happening in our recovery, but it also talks a little bit about what's happening with downtown and some of the things happening for it.
Sure. I mean, we're in that stage of recovery where a lot of the short-term efforts, the response efforts have been wrapped up or are wrapping up. And we saw a lot. I mean, look at the debris cleanup. I mean, I know that there's still places where more debris cleanup continues to happen. But I mean, as a whole, it looks a heck of a lot better.
Oh, absolutely.
And as we move into the longer term recovery and the planning and things like that, those sorts of revitalization and recovery planning, the time period starts to, or the implementation of it, let's say, starts to slow down a little bit because of the processes. I mean, one of the things, of course, that we want to do with our downtown, with our parish-wide, whether it be downtown or any other place, is we need to make sure that we have all of the stakeholders and all of the public input so that we can know it's not just what any one person or group of people want to do. It's what we as a community want to do,
right,
and want to see.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to be working on putting together community planning sessions that will serve all of our planning needs, because we need to watch out for what's called planning fatigue. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think a lot of people have experienced it before, where you have a coastal master plan, and then you have the parish doing this plan, and then the parish is doing another plan, and somebody else is doing another plan. And you see all these meetings being advertised at the library or the municipal auditorium or civic center. Like, didn't we just do that? Mm-hmm. Right? And rather than confuse everybody and make a long process take even longer, our thinking is, well, let's coordinate all of these planning efforts, because some of it's my department, but some of it's other departments or agencies that are doing it too. And rather than working independent, let's work together on that so that we can have these community input sessions or meetings and get the most mileage out of it.
Right.
So,
and have everybody there, everybody at the table, including the community, because ultimately that's what you talk about. We want to make sure that the people in the community are represented, and we want to hear your idea.
Right.
Because, quite frankly, we don't always have the best idea. Sometimes they're the people that have been here longer, mm-hmm. can say, oh, well, we tried this. My dad's was on the Parks Commission for years, and for a long time they would kind of redo or keep redoing, and finally they said, why don't we learn from what we did and do something different? Right. And that's kind of where we are, getting some of that input and everybody being at the table together. I love the transparency of the interagency work. That's the one thing that I love about our community and what we do is nobody seems to have an ego about, oh, wait, that's not my area. It's all about what's best for all of us.
Yeah, I go back to our days spent at the Emergency Operations Center. I mean, I think we all learn how to work together because we have to,
Right.
right? But we've done it over the years, not just with Ida, but all of the years that I've been involved in those times at the Emergency Ops Center. I mean, we've worked together, and so we know how to, and we continue to, even outside of that building.
Right. And so all the communication, that's one of the big things, I will tell you. And it's being modeled all over the country about how we respond to these emergency situations with Earl and his team. But it's everybody about the great communication. And that's where it starts.
Right.
And so it's a good communication tool that y'all have used inside and outside of that building, as you mentioned.
Sure. But, back to the downtown, I mean, I think the first big thing, of course, is going to be the Rotary Centennial Plaza. And I know, not to steal anybody's thunder, but, they're going to be making a formal announcement about that, I think, next week.
Yes.
I'm happy to say, I'm working with our capital projects team to get the bid package ready to go out and, get that project underway. But, there's going to be a lot more projects like that.
Right.
I know our legislative team is working hard in Baton Rouge to put things together for us to help with that recovery, especially in the historic district. We have lots of interested local, either nonprofits or other focused groups, and so I'm really excited to see that passion that our people have, and I know that there's a lot of that. Let's get it done. But, I think everybody just needs to remember, let's be patient. I mean, although it feels like we should be a lot further than we are, I'm here to tell you, compared to some of the other storm events, because we have these training sessions with FEMA who bring in elected officials, planning directors, our counterparts from all over the country, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado or whatever event that they recovered from, and they talk about their process, and they're all saying, well, you guys are a lot further here than where we were, 8 months out,
in other places.
So I just want the people of Terrebonne Parish to realize that. I know it's difficult. Look, they just started on my house today.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just,
Right.
It's a really important point, is that, it's not like the people who are in leadership roles are getting things faster than others. Your house got work started on it physically today.
Right.
And I still don't have floors, and I'm living in a camper.
Right.
So, it's just, I want people to know that we're all dealing with this, and we're doing a really good job, as seen by a lot of people that do this every day.
That's the big message is for the people to realize that we are we have a long way to go.
Yes.
But we're in a good place right now. But yeah, it's not a 1 year and everything's going to be bright and shiny again. This is going to take a long time. So
Right.
Everybody just needs to be vigilant and be patient and continue to work together.
Rather for the long haul. Chris, we appreciate your time as always.
Sure thing.
All right, guys, that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more with HTV as we continue.